today, the reading is of Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman. And we refer to Jesus by many titles. And certainly by Son of God is one of them. But the other one is we refer to him as teacher. Christ himself said, yes, you are correct. I am the teacher. All right, the reason we call him teacher is because of the way that he taught people is the way that we are then called to also teach people. If you notice, when he went before the Samaritan woman, like many of us, he did not start with her sins. He started with the encounter of her as a person. So even though there were preconceived notions of who a Samaritan is, Jesus begins the conversation with a simple request. Can I have a drink of water? And so by asking this simple question, he disarms her that it's not an attack of, what are you doing here at the well? Why are you here? I'm not supposed to be talking to you. So the very first engagement is he engages her as the image and likeness of God. That's our first lesson when we talk to people that we don't necessarily like. Our first inclination, and I've been guilty of this many times, more times before priesthood, less times after priesthood, my first indication usually has been based on what my idea of who they are, and that's then how I engage. What I have learned since then through seminary and through understanding gospels like this is first image and likeness, and treat them as the human being that they are. Then she answers him, but she answers him in a very simple manner. And she says, but you don't have anything to drink from. And this is obviously not the point of why he does want a drink of water. He is human, but this is not why he is engaging with her. He's engaging her to bring her to another level. But he can't begin at that level. And sometimes that's a mistake that we make, is we try to engage people at a level either beyond what they are capable of understanding, or we are condescending to them and say things like, I can't believe that you don't know this. You know, where do we see that most prevalent? We see that during Lent. Why are you eating that? Who said that you're allowed to eat that steak? Why are you having a piece of chicken? Look at me. I'm not eating that. So we tend to condescend. We tend to look down on people because they are not following the rules as we know them, not the rules as they are meant to be applied in terms of how Jesus applied them in a compassionate manner. And then he starts to bring her up to the level, and now he wants her to know who he is. And he does this through politely asking her, go and get your husband and return. It doesn't continue by saying, look, I know your past history. I'm God. You're a sinner. You've already had 7 husbands before. Now you're living with some guy. So you need help, right? This is not what he does. He asks her. He says, go and get your husband. Okay. He allows her to respond. That's the next lesson for us, that let them come to us rather than us trying to extract information that we think we know about somebody. Many times we have been approached, and many times I've been approached by a person who has a particular situation, all right? And they want to talk to you about it, and they say, hey, I got to talk to you about something. And then all of a sudden we come out with, oh, you mean how I saw you with that woman over in the restaurant? And we just begin with that. No. If they're going to come to us, then in the manner of practicing good confession, we allow them to speak. This is the lesson that Jesus gives, because he allows her to come out with the truth. And this is what happens. She comes out and she says, truly I perceive that you know the truth. And then she comes out and says, and he ends this conversation with telling her, I am this Messiah that you are waiting for. But he can't begin with that. And many times when we are talking to people, we can't begin at that last stage. We have to take the lesson from the master teacher. Engage with the person as a human being. Let them now engage with you and become comfortable with you and have trust in you. And then when they respond, you respond first with compassion. Yes, maybe later on there will be a degree of judgment. This is not a good habit for you to have. You should not be cheating on X. You should not be smoking or drinking that much. That can come later, but that's not the first words out of our mouth. We begin with compassion, and then slowly we look to correct. And then we build people up spiritually that way rather than condemning them. And this is what Jesus railed against in terms of what the Pharisees were doing.